I thank His Excellency Mr. Mr. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi for his speech, and now I'll give the floor for the Yemen's President to say his speech. Your Excellency, the Crown Prince, the Mr. Premier, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Your Excellency, Mr. Xi Jinping, the President of the China, Your Excellencies, Your Royal Highness, Your Excellency, Mr. Ahmed Abul Ghaid, the Secretary General of the League of Arab States, pleases me to extend the thanks and gratitude to Prince Salman bin Abdulaziz, the custodian of the Holy Mosque, and his Crown Prince, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, for convening the first Summit of China and Arab States Cooperation Forum, thanking the Kingdom and its leadership and people for the good perception and kind hospitality. And I congratulate His Excellency Mr. Xi Jinping, the President of the China, for his keenness of cooperation between China and Arab states and the determination for the historical bonds. The Arab states and China are bonding together in participating in increasing cooperation, building sustainable development, would achieve social and prosperous future for their peoples. And our summit, the first one on the level of the leaders for the Chinese and Arab Forum, as an establishment of fruitful and constructive cooperation and a great step for such a forum. The Chinese and Arab Forum had enabled to build in a very solid bridge between the Arab states and China of cooperation, relying on the principle of the joint interest in a framework of respect, given into consideration the full respect for their characteristics of the whole country, be a base of the international arenas in supporting the One China principle, or China's support of our pivotal causes, that reflects also in our partnership within the framework of the Road and the Belt initiative, by creating a new economic mechanism and in fostering the bilateral cooperation. In this regard, the cooperation between China and Mauritania that are gathered in a very solid and human relations in serving the peace and security for their peoples, where China, since independence, provided political and development support, and that has been doubled recently. China is the first trade partner of Mauritania that include different cooperation fields such as infrastructure, health, and others. I hail their support in this context. Our country is praising the declaration of the Chinese president that the joint aids work that are related in development, food security, health, green development, innovation, energy, and the civilization, dialogue, and youth empowerment, and peace and security, that all are in line with our national priorities. Your Royal Highnesses, Your Excellencies, in building, while the world is witnessing such a crisis in the world, that we all look forward that such a summit would contribute in addition to other mechanisms in supporting the strategic dialogue between China and the Arab states in confronting the current challenges, on top of which the necessity of establishing peace and security in our Arab region that cannot be achieved without establishing an independent Palestinian state based on the international legislation and the Arab initiative, such as well as finding solutions for the current crisis that facing our neighboring countries in Libya and Yemen. For the Chinese and Arab Forum would succeed in contributing elevating the climate challenge through measures being taken by the Arab nations, such as the Green Mediterranean or the Middle East Initiative, the Green Hydrogen Project that we are working in it. Despite the important role of raising the bilateral exchanges, relations between the countries, as a whole, our hopes relied on such a forum are several, and I'm fully confident that this would fostering their role in building sustainable development and establishing lasting and sustainable peace and security for the Arab nations and China and the whole world. And I thank you, and peace be upon you all. I thank His Excellency Mr. Mohammed Walsheikh for his speech, and now I'll call upon President of Palestine, President Mahmoud Abbas, to say his speech. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most passionate, Your Excellencies, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince, Mr. Premier of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Your Excellency Mr. Xi Jinping, the President of the China, Your Royal Highness, Your Excellency, leaders of the Arab states, head of delegations, Your Excellency, Secretary General of the League of Arab States, peace be upon you all. It pleases me to the outset to extend thanks to my brother, the custodian of the Holy Mosque, King Salman bin Abdulaziz, and to my brother, His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince, and to the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia by hosting such a very historical summit that crowned years of Chinese-Arab dialogue in the framework of the Cooperation Forum and in the whole levels. We salute the leaders and heads of delegations of the Arab states participating in such a summit, and we appreciate their continued effort in have a success for such strategic relations. I would also like to welcome Mr. Xi Jinping, wishing His Excellency all success in achieving the aspirations and ambitions of our friendly Chinese people towards more of progress and flourishing. And I would like to affirm you, Mr. President, that Palestine, that believe the justice of your stance would continue behind China to support the One China principle in confronting the campaign targeting it in whole the international arenas. In such an occasion, I would like to express to His Excellency, Mr. The President of China, for our thankful attitude, for his fully support and all aids provided for our development programs that are appreciative, that cannot be forgotten by the Palestinian people. Such a unique summit, it is a great opportunity for more cooperation based on the economic exchange and investment in the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative by asserting the fourth road in building the Arab-Chinese community for a future that is ahead of us, and the non-interference of the internal affairs of the others, and building a security system and fostering the civilization or civilized exchange. We affirm in this context of the importance of cooperation in the aged fields in food security, health, green development, innovations, energy security, civilization dialogue, the youth empowerment, peace and security, and to move forward towards building a promising future and joint Chinese-Arab states cooperation. Your Royal Highness, Your Excellency, the Israeli occupation in Palestine without an accountability after the fleeing of more than half of the Palestinian people for more than 74 years, that form more than 7 million refugees. It is proposing several and burning questions on the seriousness of the international system that would allow the authorities of the occupied Israeli troops by building a system that is full of discrimination, and to continue the unilateral works and siege and distortion and the change in the entity of Jerusalem city and the non-respect of the historical situation that holding our money in light of the international silence of the policy of the double standard. Such a theoretical system never succeeded in applying a single UN resolution that are more than 1,000 resolutions in the General Assembly and the United Nations. We are lacking these days to have a partner in Israel that believe the two-state solutions based on the assigned agreement and rejecting violence and terrorism, that we are abiding on working based on them, and we call upon in this context the international community not to deal with a Israeli government that do not recognize such principles and values. Despite all being said, we are not going to avoid, or we are going to abide all the international system, and in this regard we have to continue the support of the international community to execute all the international convention, the initiative of the Arab states, and supporting the Palestinian pursuing the acknowledgement of the Palestinian state, as well as the full membership of the United Nations, and to convey an international conference for peace, securing the international protection to Palestine, and to apply the international resolutions of the Palestinian cause, among of which the resolution, the UN resolution 2344 as well as the General Assembly Resolution 181 of 1947 and 194 of 1949 that were two preventions of accepting Israel as a member of the United Nations, and to date never been executed, never been acknowledged, that should held it accountable either to accept them or not to be a member of the United Nations. And we affirmed the necessity of saying an apology and compensation because of Balfour Convention, as well as the compensation by Israel made during the 1948 Nakba, as well as the distortion of 500 Palestinian people and the fleeing of or making more than 900 refugees of their houses. And to conclude, I'd like to thank you all, and I praise your full support and stances towards Palestine by affirming you all that we are going to be more effective in serving the Chinese Arab states' cooperation and supporting the developed countries in achieving peace and security and stability, as well as confronting terrorism in our region as well as the whole world. In this opportunity, we are saluting the holy custodian of the Holy Mosque, King Salman bin Abdulaziz, and peace be upon you all. I thank His Excellency Mr. Mahmoud Abbas for his speech, and I call upon to Mr. Qais bin Said of Tunisia to say his speech. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, praise to the Almighty God till we meet His peace and prayer be upon the messenger of the Almighty God, Your Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, the Crown Prince, Mr. Premier of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Your Excellency Xi Jinping, the President of China, Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, the Secretary General of the League of Arab States, allow me in this short speech to extend the thanks and appreciations of the custodian of the Holy Two Mosques, King Salman bin Saud, by hosting such a summit, and to His Excellency Xi Jinping, the President of China, for his effort in developing the Chinese Arab states cooperation. We convene today in this first of a kind summit on this good peaceful home, this land, and thank you for the organizers of such a summit and for the host choosing and thanks to who chose the title that we entitled "We're All Together for Peace and Development." Development cannot be achieved without a peace. Peace cannot be prevail without just development. isn't it's the same when the Berlin Wall being collapsed. We do not wish to build new walls, but working in laying out a foundation for a new building, that the horny wires are absent, the separated walls, as well as the surrounded tables. The whole humanity has suffered for a long time of the unjust distributions of wealth, suffered wars and plagues, and still, unfortunately, the blood being shed, still as well as the occupation on the Palestinian land. Their peoples are dying from hunger and thirsty. They're not being circulated by being circulated by the media without any effect and action. This, let alone the civil wars, terrorism, that find this good environment for more brutality and dissemination. Fortunately, that many of the more of countries throughout the world, more than 7 and 8 decades are described that are developing, yet they are not yet described as poor, but being disseminated at large. And in several countries, being replaced by being described as developing, being vulnerable. To what extent will continue in a deadlock, and to the whole world is going where the reasons of the poverty within such countries and throughout the international arena. Humans are humans everywhere, with the same rights in decent lives in all nations. Therefore, development in such a new phase of humanity should be tangible, real in the whole world, not a slogan or a name of no peace and development. And thanks to the Almighty God that we are convened today in this summit in top of this good piece of land for opening a new path in the history, whereas the globalization, a term emerged in the 60s that extended to unlimited an end, would require to be approached of new definitions, a way of pivots and a way of allies that the people are being arranged in a favorable manner as being in the old history, and our countries in the old centuries and the successive years, not just in the ozone hole or the global warming or the deaths of birds, but our people who they paid the price, and excessively. Desperation and vulnerability being increased as it has been shown today. If there is a determination of maintaining such a term that does not change a reality that we are conveying today in the China Arab State Summit, to change such a reality, looking for new terms and new ideas that are different from the past, that never led, but more of desperation and poverty and wars and the neglection of the rights of their people to determine their potentials, on top of which the right of the Palestinian people and the Palestinian people, the Jerusalem, its capital. We should succeed in breaking a new path of new thought and new conceptions. Our peoples were paved a way of the silk and the road, and we should work together to cross bridges that we are made together based on the same values, and well, in order to avoid to have an end of such a situation that we are living in, till we have an end of poverty and desperation, till the wars to be end. I quote the thought of Ben Shoshan bin Khaldun, his wisdom of the old China, as well as the wisdom of the deceased Arabs and those who are present today. We do have the joint will in building a new world. We should work all together in laying out the foundations of a new world based on development internationally, peace and security for humanity as a whole, and peace be upon you all. I thank His Excellency Mr. Qais bin Said for his speech, and I wish to call His Excellency President Said Osman, the President of Qumr, to say his speech in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Praise to the Almighty God, peace and prayers be upon His Prophet, Your Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince and Mr. Premier, Your Excellency Mr. Xi Jinping, the President of Populous China, Your Excellency, Your Royal Highness, Your Excellency Mr. Ahmed Abul Ghaid, Secretary General of the League of Arab States, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, peace be upon you all. Allow me at the outset to extend the thanks and appreciation for the custodianate of the Holy Mosque, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, been maintained by the Almighty God through His leadership and kingdom and its people. All thanks and appreciation and gratitude for the good hospitality and reception we've touched upon land into the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, as well as I would like to hail the good organizations of the proceeding of such a summit, that we are look forward of more fostering for more horizons of progress and cooperation between China and Arab states in all joint fields of cooperation. We are fully confident that such a summit will contribute in the laying out policies regarding the international and regional issues of joint concern that aims at maintaining the Arab-Chinese interest and supporting the international peace and security, as well as deepening the sustainable development in all fields. I'm fully confident and convinced that such a unique summit hosted by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in addition to the economic, strategic and political importance between the Arab states and China, would contribute in creating a new spirit of the Chinese-Arab partnership that is tangible and solid, would paving the good path of successful economic and political cooperation between China and the Arab states. That would serve the joint interests of both sides. In reality, throughout the past 70 years, since the establishment of the new China, China and the Arab states were always respectful to each other on the basis of equality. The first summit is a great event and a great important step of the President of China to double size the trade exchange between the two sides. Therefore, I hailed the spirit of friendship in building Chinese and Arab community that we are longing for a prosperous and joint future that is ground of fruitful cooperation between the Arab-Chinese parties based on the joint benefits and interest. The esteemed attendees, allow me to remember that our country has succeeded in economic reforms and aiming in achieving this aggressive vision of escalating our country by 2030. The government of Jazir al-Qamar convened in Paris in such a conference, followed by the COVID-19. In Paris, the Cameroon government convened a high-level gathering to follow up the conference of development partners that enable us to execute new relations, and the mobilization of the working and action plan of development has also enabled to continue the strategic efforts of our government to launch the sustainable development in the framework of the African or the strategic agreement till 2030. Therefore, I would like to share everybody in such work that our assistance in executing the project and recommendations of such a meeting to follow up the program. To conclude, I would like to seize the opportunity to express the full gratitude and sincere thanks for the countries participating in this conference, and I thank the China for continuous support of our path, and I pray to the Almighty God to have a successful such a summit, and peace be upon you all. I thank His Excellency President Osman Ghazali for his speech, and I'll call upon His Excellency Dr. Ismail Al-Omar, the President of Djibouti, to say his speech. Thank you. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most passionate, praise to the Almighty God, and peace and prayers be upon His passenger, Prophet Muhammad. Your Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, the Crown Prince and Mr. Premier of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Your Excellency Mr. Chief Even the President of China, Your Excellencies, Your Royal Highness, Your Excellency Mr. Secretary General of the League of Arab States, ladies and gentlemen, peace and prayer and blessings be upon you all. It pleases me in the outset to extend thanks and appreciation to my brother, the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz, and his Crown Prince, Your Royal Highness Emir Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdul Aziz, and the Saudi people for their hosting the first of a kind of China and Arab States Summit, and for the good hospitality and good reception since we've landed such a hosty land. We are gathering today in the light of a very important phase that is full of constructive action and hope, convening the first summit between China and Arab States sides that established a new era in the path of the solid cooperation, a strategic partnership between the two sides. We should express our full comfort of such a tangible development and the full determination to escalate the mechanism of the collective action in pursuit of achieving joint interest and goals. Such a great opportunity to have a progress of the solid cooperation between the Chinese and Arab sides and projecting new horizons of partnership. In this regard, it is importantly to note to escalate the spirit of friendship and cooperation between Arab states and China and work together in a way in building a solid, united community that pursue a more prideful future. Then I'm fully confident, with full confidence, towards a new era, aspiring to the long, successful path of the Chinese-Arab relations. It is fully determined to exert all effort in serving sustainable development. I praise in the creative initiative initiated by China, such as the Belt and Road Initiative and the World Development Initiative, that reflected the concern of the Chinese country in pushing the international development for new levels that are more inclusive and sustainable. I wish to hail the current role of China in pushing the development in Djibouti state, where is a constructive partnership between the two countries to escalate the level of the bilateral relation to unprecedented level. Not only on the national level, but in the regional level also, that pave the way for the process of transformation in Africa as a whole. Your Excellencies, in light of international and successive transformation that we are called upon more than anyone, anytime else, to foster the joint cooperation to go in line with such variables by finding innovative solutions and affirming the importance of the Chinese role based on the central presence in the international system. And we also ascertain the importance of the Arab nations as a great international group of political way and witnessing historical present. That would make the joint cooperations of the two sides internationally and regionally is decisive for the important causes. In the same framework, we would like to appreciate the principal and solid stances supporting the Arab causes, on top of which the Palestinian cause. And we also would like to reiterate our support of the One China principle agreed by the international community as the basis of diplomatic relations between China and other countries. To conclude, I'd like to reiterate our full thanks and appreciation to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in organizing such a very important summit that is forming a very dominant and distinguished station in the path of strategic relations between China and Arab states, looking for outputs to achieve the joint hopes, give a momentum of the Chinese-Arab relations. And I thank you for your attention, and peace and blessings be mercy and blessings be upon you all. I thank His Excellency Dr. Ismail Omar for the speech. Now I'll call upon President Al-Halimi, the President of the Yemeni presidency. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate, Your Excellency Prince Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, the Crown Prince, Mr. Premier of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Your Excellency Xi Jinping, the President of China, Your Royal Highness, Your Excellency Mr. Ahmed Abdullahi, Great Secretary General of the League of Arab States. Ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon you all. Allow me at the outset to extend thanks and appreciation to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, to the custodian of the Holy Mosques, and the Crown Prince, the King Salman bin Al Saud, for hosting such a unique summit, for the good hospitality and that are and a very solid and historical features of the great country under the great leadership of King Salman bin Abdulaziz, for his pioneer role, his unique renaissance inspired of the 2030 vision of His Royal Highness Crown Prince Salman bin Abdulaziz, the Mr. Premier. I'd like to thank and appreciate President Xi Jinping, the President of China, that are bound together, China and Yemen, throughout the history, for this effort for have a successful summit in bolstering the relations between China and Arab states towards a brightful future based on the mutual respect, the non-interference of the internal affairs of the countries. Such a first of a kind summit and a great opportunity for achieving prosperity and development for the peoples of the Arab region as well as in China, by maintaining a framework of cooperation, a unified for peace and sustainable development, where we affirm our praise and hail the solid Chinese stance of the legitimate government in our country, as well as its peace and security, the safety of its territory, affirming the One China principle. This comes in a very idealistic circumstance of our aspirations. People in a world of conflicts, poverty, despite the repercussions of the climate change that would require a joint effort of fostering the collective cooperation. It is required for us to get benefit of the international regional initiative, including the Belt and the Road Initiative and the Green Middle East. To be more specifically, I would like to repeat that to move forward such an initiative is required to have an end of conflicts and wars, on top of which the Houthi militias to accept the international desire of using the banned weapons. In our Presidential Council, we and the government will continue together for the comprehensive peace according to the three references as well as the relevant general UN or the Security Council resolution.
وخلجانه المتشاطئة مع دول المنطقة بين مضيق باب المندب وقناة السويس سيكون اختبارا هاما.
It will be our gathering will be tested and a challenge for the whole world. Therefore, such a summit should represent a response for such a challenge as affecting the collective security and our commitments before the international community to be translated of a unified development strategy in top of which supporting the Yemeni people, supporting its national government, its service and economic reforms in confronting the terrorist Houthi groups aligned with Al-Qaeda and Daesh groups and ending the human crisis in the whole world, and to deal in fastened by the dangers of the oil chip in the Red Sea. Your Royal Highness, the esteemed attendees, the old Chinese quoting when the people is fulfilled by the wheels will be humbled and behaved, but later on, when they misses the food and clothes being moved to be a dangerous and threaten the security of the region, given into consideration to the threats, the Presidential Council has decided to classify such a group as a terrorist group that would require full support of such a resolution. I see this opportunity to express thanks to all Arab countries that supported the classifications resolution through the LAS, and I affirm our stance behind the Palestinian people for its Palestinian cause. Your Royal Highnesses, our allies, with our brothers led by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, one of the biggest allies seen in the world, being with us all the long in supporting our rights in the United Nations. To conclude, I wish you all the best of luck and success for such a summit presided by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and I wish the same success for King Salman bin Abdulaziz and serving the region in favor of prosperity and peace and security, and peace be upon you all. And now I call upon Major General Abdel Fattah Burhan, the President of the
صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير
Transitional Council in Sudan. Your Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince, Mr. Premier of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Your Excellency Mr. President Xi Jinping, the President of China, Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies,
معالي السيد أحمد
Your Excellency Mr. Ahmed Abul Ghait, Secretary General for the League of Arab States,
الله تعالى
peace be upon you all.
طيب لي
Pleases me in today to extend thanks and appreciation to HRH Kingdom, King Salman bin Abdulaziz, the King of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, for his invitation to attend the first of a kind of China Arab States Summit.
نمتد شكرنا
Thanks is extended for His Excellency the President of China for his keenness and concern of the Chinese-Arab relations, and I look forward
خطوة
to
ومهمة
for the summit to be a great and important step in fostering the historic relationship between the Arab-Chinese side through activating all mechanisms of cooperation in all arenas.
إن العلاقات السودانية الصينية
The Sudanese and Chinese relations are
تمثل
old and historic.
أكبر شريك
China is the biggest partner of Sudan in different economic
وتمثل
fields.
تجربة ملتقى التعاون
The
الزراعي السوداني الصيني
Agricultural Cooperation Forum is a role model of cooperation between Sudan and China that need to be repeated
لأنه يفتح
regionally and internationally, that
للتنسيق
opens a vast horizon in coordination in development fields and agricultural investments. Sudan is looking forward of more cooperation between China and Sudan in a time that the whole world is in dire need to overcome the crisis of food security that wave the whole world today.
المنتدى الصيني العربي لإصلاح
The third
والتي نأمل
uh,
أن ينتظم انعقاد
edition of the meeting of cooperation in Sudan that we hope to go in line with the World Development Initiative proposed by the President of China in the United Nations in 2021 that call upon the
تحقيق المنافع المتبادلة
world consensus in escalating to the mutual benefits. Your Royal Highnesses, Excellency, the strategy of Belt and Road proposed by the Chinese leadership is a practical model that embodied the bonds of cooperation throughout the world. Sudan is supporting such an orientation as praising the investment and development initiative announced by HRH Prince Mohammed Salman by establishing an investment fund that include a number of Arab states, including Sudan. In addition of a project of the railway line being adopted in the meeting of the Islamic Cooperation Organization in Dakar to be extended in both Sudan till Dakar city in the west of Senegal. Such a project would be an unprecedented economic and development leap if it is completed by the initiative of Belt and Road to achieve the benefit exchange throughout the country. The Sudanese-Chinese cooperation in the field of development is one of the models of joint success of production that Sudan is looking forward to develop such a cooperation through a project of Chinese Arab agriculture project would achieve part of strategic agriculture plan.
يؤكد السودان
Sudan is affirming
إتاحة كافة
that is fully prepared to provide in all potentials to achieve such a strategy. Sudan is affirming to support the 8 joint actions that China would work with the Arab side in the upcoming years. To conclude, allow me to reaffirm thanks and appreciation to HRH, the custodian of the 2 holy mosques, His Crown Prince, for good hospitality of such a summit. Thanks and appreciation to be extended for the Chinese leadership and the family of the League of Arab States. Peace, mercy and blessing of the Almighty God be upon you all. I thank His Excellency Major General Abdel Fattah Burhan for his speech, and I now call upon to Dr. Muhammad Yunus, the President of the Presidential Council of Libya. You'll have the floor. Say, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most passionate, Your Excellency, His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, the Crown Prince of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Mr. Premier, His Excellency Mr. Xi Jinping, the President of China, Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Abdullah, the Secretary General of the League of Arab States. It pleases me to extend the thanks and appreciation to the Holy Custodian in Kingdom of Salman bin Abdul Aziz, His Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdul Aziz, the Crown Prince of the Kingdom, and to the Saudi people, to what we've felt of good hospitality and reception. Political economic development that are escalated in our world would require to be more flexible to determine the concept of economic partnership, to avoid the solid cliché that govern our relations in the past century, in light of what China's paying concern of the Arab world that witnessed the development in the Arab-Chinese relations since the Chinese-Arab Cooperation Forum in 2004, whereas the Arab world be a first partner and the first exporter of the raw oil that achieved good leaps in the mid-90s, and to be a role model and the main engine of the economy, the world economy. Ladies and gentlemen, such a summit to be convened in its proper time and place, to be an historical station in fostering the relationship between the Arab-Chinese countries based on the respect of the sovereignty of people, joint interest, people's interest that are respectful by China and Arab states. Your Royal Highnesses, our country in Libya is one of the countries that has solid relations between China's and supporting the independence of this Libyan state in 1951 and the commitment of Libya on the principle of one China that grown a yearly growth that exceed the last period. We are praising the role of China that goes in line with its presence for the independence or for the stability of Libya and its unity that would guarantee the development wheel movement and the urban development that launched in 2010 and stopped because of the political change and the unstable conditions witnessed by our country. The state of Libya celebrated a few days ago to eradicate terrorism and terrorist groups that enable to achieve peace and security, that reflect positively to complete the production of gas and oil, that would encourage several foreign companies to exert their activities. We are supporting the work in eradication to the terrorism versus. To conclude, the state of Libya will celebrate in its 71st of Independence Day in helping our effort to be succeed in building the trust between the Libyan people component to go out of such a political crisis through transparent and just parliamentary and presidential elections accepted by the whole segmentation of the Libyan people. And I hereby expect full support by the Arab states and China in achieving such a goal as soon as possible. And I wish to thank you.